All right, so now let's take a listen to this bass because it's really Sting would not be pleased with this bass. I've got my guitar fixed. I've got my drums fixed. So clearly the bass is not playing the right notes, but why isn't it playing the right notes? It sounds like it needs to be, it's almost like everything's a half step off. And it's also really high pitched. So I'm going to select everything, all my bass notes. And also I can tell that they're way out of time. So we need to correct the notes that they're playing. The length of them are kind of suspect, and the velocities are kind of all over the place, and the timing. So they're just messed up all around. So first, let's figure out what our notes are so that we're playing the correct notes. And I think that it should be an E, and I can cross-check that if I switch over to my guitar part, which was expand one. I can see, okay, they're playing an E kind of power chord and then this kind of D sus chord. So I'm going to use that as my reference and see what my bass notes are playing. So I can look and see, okay, so the bass is much too high. So I'm going to deselect my guitar part by selecting up in the tracks window, and I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to transpose them down one semitone. Uh-oh, guys, I've got a note stuck. How can I fix that? With a all notes off command. And for some reason that was happening to me, but it's all good because I can send all notes off. The quick command for that is shift command period. All right. So let's just listen. I know the octave is wrong too. But at least we're playing the right notes now. Okay. So now let's try dropping it. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to, oh, I can leave it on there. I'm sorry. I'm going to change this back to 0 because we're in the right note now. We just need to drop the octave. So let's say -1. Let's see what that sounds like. Oh, there's that stuck note again for some reason. So I hit shift command period, and that um, did my all notes off. I can also go up here to my event and say all MIDI notes off, and there's the key command right there. So now let's listen. Ah, cool. And now now everything's starting to sound a little bit better, and I don't need to transpose anymore. I do want to quantize. I'm going to quantize, and then I'm going to mess with my velocities a little bit. So I'm going to preserve the note duration for now. And let's quantize it to 16th notes. And then I'm going to exclude within, let's say, 3%. And then for my strength, I don't want it to be super strong because I want it to have a little bit of that original performance in it. All right, let's see what that does. And then we can always undo it if something's not quite right. So then okay, I've clearly got this note is in the wrong place. So that one, at this point, I'm just going to move that one by hand. Okay, and then this one, so because of this note, where was I? Was it here? So this note right here, he got quantized to the wrong place because he was too close to that 16th note. So I just need to take him and move him over. And that's why if you select eighth notes, for example, in this case that wouldn't work because I have too many 16th notes. You know what? It actually would. I'm going to back it up. Let's change everything. I think it's mostly playing eighth notes. So I'm going to try that, but I'm still going to leave these settings going. I realized I don't play any 16th notes with the bass part. All I play is eighth notes. So we can get away with setting it to eighth note, and it's going to fix some of those problems for me. Ah, so this one was in the wrong place. I'm just going to take that. It's easy enough to just click and drag it. And I'm just going to kind of go through and make sure everything's in the right place. So let's take a few seconds. Yeah, so you can see the velocities are really kind of, I'm not minding them at all. And it's giving a lot of, because I played it in by hand, it's got some of that, that human element. So I don't really want to mess with my velocities too much. What I think I might do is just limit them. So I'm going to say a minimum of 60 and a maximum of 120. And then we can randomize them a little bit too. And then let's see what that does. Okay, so that just kind of, I don't really like that. I don't want to change it by a percentage. I want to do this. Okay, so as you can see, that really reined in the velocity. Let's not do quite so much. Let's 127 and 40. And we can scale them too. That's too much. We can make it a little bit less. That's too little. Again, there's some give and take with this. You can kind of mess with how much that changes it. That's probably going to take away too much. So I'm going to just leave it how it was because I kind of liked it. But you can, and then you could go in if there's just certain notes that are too quiet, and we can bring those ones up. What I do want to mess with for sure is my duration. So I don't want to make them legato because that would make these short, what should be short notes, way too short. But what I will do is select all these short notes, and then I'm gonna set them all to about 200, and let's see what that sounds like. That's too short. Let's try 300. Then that one's a little long. I could change it by hitting legato, and that's going to bring it all the way up to this next note here. I could also just click and drag the length of it. Also works. And then I can look through, and everything's looking pretty good on my bass part. So I think we're in business. All right. And then now I'm going to save my work. And I'll just do this last one right now too. So I've got this pad going in the chorus. So at this point I'm just going to solo the pad. Oops. So there's something funky going on. It almost sounds like the pedal is, the sustain pedal is on. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I can check that. And my sustain pedal is activated. So it looks like some fool put the sustain pedal on. But maybe I want to have sustain pedal. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is hit transform sustain pedal to duration. And then I'm going to hit that. And it made everything kind of wild. So I don't want to do that. Let's try this. No. So if we do this and then we say remove overlaps. No, that's no good either. I think what I'm just going to do for this particular instrument is just highlight that and delete it. And that should fix that problem. But one thing I noticed is the release of this pad is a little extreme to be the full length. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to select everything and I'm going to add a gap. All right, and I think it's got a pretty big release, so I'm going to give it a 100 gap of 100 ticks. Oh, I have randomized on, so let's take that away. There we go. So that basically took so that I'm releasing the notes before to allow them to decay a little bit. And as you can see, that kind of gives it a little bit of space so that it's not quite so muddy. Let's see what that sounds like with the mix. Cool. So there you go, guys. Did we turn this from a messed up, muddy piece of crud, and I can, go in and mix it a little bit? There you go. Enjoy.